Hey Everione, welcome back to the channel.
If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on our media analysis and commentary. Today, we're diving into something that's been absolutely blowing up online, and I need to set the record straight right away. Let me start by saying this: what we're talking about today is a completely fabricated story that never happened.
Period.
But the fact that it's spreading so rapidly online deserves our attention because it reveals a lot about our current media landscape. So what am I talking about? In the past 48 hours, there's been a viral story circulating about a supposed confrontation between late-night host Stephen Colbert and Barron during a television interview that allegedly turned hostile and ended with tears. I want to be absolutely clear: this event never occurred.
There was no interview.
There was no confrontation.
None of it happened.
But here's what makes this fascinating, and frankly concerning. This completely fictional story has been shared thousands of times across social media platforms, with many people believing it to be true. The detailed nature of the fabrication, with specific quotes, audience reactions, and behind-the-scenes details, has convinced some that they're reading about a real event. This is exactly why I wanted to address this today. We're living in an era where misinformation spreads at lightning speed, and this case study shows exactly how it happens. So let's break this down and analyze what makes this particular piece of fiction so effective at misleading people.
First, the level of detail.
The fabricated story includes specific quotes, describes the body language of both parties, mentions audience reactions, and even includes supposed behind-the-scenes information. All of these details make it seem more plausible to readers who aren't verifying the information. Second, the story plays into existing narratives and tensions in our political landscape. It leverages real public figures and creates a scenario that some might find believable based on their preconceptions about these individuals. This is a classic misinformation tactic: take something completely false but make it align with what some people already believe to be true about the world. Third, the story is constructed to be highly emotionally engaging. It describes a dramatic confrontation, creates tension, includes moments of conflict, and culminates in an emotional breakdown. This kind of narrative is designed to trigger strong reactions, which makes people more likely to share it without fact-checking. And that brings me to perhaps the most important point: verification. In today's media environment, we need to be more vigilant than ever about verifying information before we believe it or share it. This particular story can be easily debunked with a simple search. No major news outlets have reported on this supposed incident. There's no video evidence despite the claim that it happened on a major television program. The timeline doesn't check out either. There's no record of Barron appearing on The Late Show.
But still, the story spreads.
And that should concern all of us who care about media literacy and the health of our information ecosystem. Let's talk about the real-world consequences of misinformation like this. When false stories spread, they can damage reputations, inflame tensions, and further erode trust in media. They can create false impressions that stick with people even after they learn the truth. And perhaps most dangerously, they can make it harder for people to distinguish between fact and fiction in the future. I want to take a moment to address why I'm not showing any of the actual text of this viral misinformation. It would be irresponsible of me to amplify something that I know to be false, even in the context of debunking it. Studies have shown that repeating false claims, even to refute them, can inadvertently reinforce them in people's minds. Instead, I'm focusing on the patterns and tactics that make this kind of misinformation effective. Now, let's talk about how we can protect ourselves from being misled by stories like this. First and foremost, check multiple sources. If something major happened on a popular television show, it would be covered by numerous reputable news outlets. If you can only find the story on social media or obscure websites, that's a red flag.
Second, look for video evidence.
In this case, the story claims something happened on a televised program, so where's the clip? In today's digital age, if something dramatic happens on TV, clips would be everywhere. The absence of actual footage should immediately make you suspicious.
Third, consider the source.
Who is sharing this information? Do they have a track record of accuracy? Do they have first-hand knowledge of the events they're describing? In this case, the story appears to have originated from anonymous accounts with no connection to the television show or its participants. Fourth, be wary of stories that seem designed to provoke strong emotional reactions. Misinformation often targets our emotions because when we're emotionally activated, we're less likely to think critically. And finally, when in doubt, don't share. If you can't verify something, don't pass it along. By sharing unverified information, we can inadvertently become part of the problem. I also want to address the technology angle here. We're entering an era where AI-generated content is becoming increasingly sophisticated. Tools exist that can create convincing fictional narratives that read like real news stories. This means we all need to level up our critical thinking skills and approach what we read online with a healthy dose of skepticism. Now, I want to shift gears and talk about why fabrications like this find such fertile ground in our current media environment. We're living in a time of unprecedented polarization, where many people are primed to believe negative stories about those on the other side of the political divide. This tribalism makes us vulnerable to manipulation. Additionally, our media ecosystem rewards engagement above all else. Stories that generate strong reactions, whether true or not, tend to spread farther and faster than more nuanced content. This creates perverse incentives that can prioritize virality over accuracy. And let's not forget the speed at which information travels now. In the past, news organizations served as gatekeepers, verifying information before it reached the public. Today, anyone can publish anything instantly, reaching millions of people before fact-checkers have a chance to weigh in. All of these factors create the perfect conditions for misinformation to thrive. And that's why media literacy has never been more important than it is right now. I believe we all have a responsibility to be thoughtful consumers and sharers of information.
The health of our public discourse depends on it.
When we share misinformation, even inadvertently, we contribute to a problem that affects us all. So the next time you see a dramatic story that seems designed to provoke outrage or other strong emotions, take a moment before you believe it or share it. Ask yourself, is this coming from a reliable source? Has it been verified by reputable news organizations? Does video or other evidence exist to support it? Is the story playing into existing narratives in a way that seems too perfect? Taking those extra few minutes to verify information before believing or sharing it is one of the most important things we can do as responsible digital citizens. Now, I want to circle back to the specific fabrication that prompted this video. What makes this case particularly interesting is how it combines elements of truth with complete fiction.
Barron Trump is a real person.
Stephen Colbert is a real late-night host. The Late Show is a real program. By anchoring the fiction in these real elements, the fabrication becomes more believable. This is a common tactic in sophisticated misinformation campaigns. Blend enough truth with the fiction to make the whole thing seem plausible. It's like adding a drop of food coloring to water. A small amount of false information can color how we perceive everything else. I've been monitoring the spread of this particular fabrication, and what's fascinating is watching how it evolves as it spreads. Some versions include additional details that weren't in the original. Others emphasize different aspects of the supposed confrontation. This is another hallmark of viral misinformation. It morphs and adapts as it spreads, making it even harder to combat. And here's something else worth noting. Once a fake story like this takes off, it can generate real news coverage debunking it. So you might start seeing legitimate news organizations reporting on the false story about Colbert and Barron Trump. This creates a strange situation where the fabrication indirectly leads to real coverage, which can further blur the lines for casual observers. I also want to acknowledge the real harm that false stories like this can cause to the individuals involved. Public figures are real people, and false narratives about them can cause genuine distress, damage relationships, and affect their mental health. We should be mindful of the human impact of the information we choose to believe and share. So where do we go from here? I believe the solution to our misinformation problem lies in a combination of individual responsibility, platform accountability, and better education about media literacy. As individuals, we need to be more thoughtful about what we believe and share. As a society, we need to have serious conversations about how to design social media platforms that don't inadvertently reward misinformation. And as an educational system, we need to prioritize teaching young people how to navigate our complex information environment. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this. Have you encountered this fabricated story online? Did you initially believe it was true? What strategies do you use to verify information you encounter online?
Drop a comment below and let's continue this important conversation.
Before I wrap up, I want to emphasize one more time, the supposed confrontation between Stephen Colbert and Barron Trump that's been circulating online never happened.
It's completely fabricated.
And the fact that it's spreading so widely should concern all of us who care about truth and accuracy in our media ecosystem. If you found this analysis helpful, please give the video a thumbs up and consider sharing it with someone who might benefit from this discussion. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel for more media analysis and commentary. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay critical, stay curious, and always check your sources. One more thing, if you're interested in learning more about media literacy and how to spot misinformation, I've included some great resources in the description below. Check them out and let me know what you think.
Until next time.